rugged shores and woodlands of the north, its history of copper mines and iron ore, the Great Lakes fishery. To the farmlands of the southern counties we'll look around, my friend, and all that waits the sportsman in the state of Michigan. And sometimes when the moon brings out the diamonds in the snow, and the stillness of the forest lies encased in Arctic cold, the wind might whisper through the trees, listen if you can. It tells you of the beauty in the state of Michigan.
Well, here we are. Another October, another pheasant season to look forward to. We have many more areas open to pheasant hunting. The Sichuan birds have been planted in some parts of the state. We went hunting on opening day in a great area with Mark and Ted Kanashevsky, Mike Francis, Dan DeLong from Lansing, two great German short-hair pointers, Tyrone and Max. Oh, I think we're going to have it made. We also have a great Pheasant Divan recipe. We're going to look at some deer hunting products you might have questioned, so you stay tuned. I'm Fred Trost. We're going to start off pheasant hunting in Michigan Outdoors. This is the first pheasant season in a long time that I've been excited. The
that
night
you can
before,
feel, yeah.
I packed the car, got everything ready. I've been so psyched for this.
Well, I'll tell you what, if they're saying that the birds are up 50%, I have a feeling they're up a little bit over that in this field.
I've seen them in this field.
So.
I was out here the other day for a half hour, kicked up 20 birds.
Boy, were we psyched up. Before the season, lots of rooster pheasants had been seen in this field. 100 acres of hay, prime roosting cover, hadn't been hunted in 10 years. Oh, it was all to ourselves for the first hour of daylight. If this wasn't a perfect setup, I can't imagine what was. The DNR reported pheasant numbers were up significantly. We had a pair of proven German short-haired pointers. The morning was crisp and clear, so we planned our shooting rotation as we walked.
That's right. Well, I think that, it's only right to give Fred the first bird. Oh, dog's on point. Yeah, we have a point over here.
Dog's down, a bird right here.
Get ready. This is Max is hot.
Max is over here too. Both of them.
Okay.
We got a point.
Why don't you guys take care of? Oh, something's going to happen here any second.
We'll take this bird here, Ted.
Okay.
The dogs were wired, we were wired, expecting any moment for a rooster, or maybe 4 or 5 at once to flush all around us. Any moment now.
Get ready. Right on this hill coming down, there are going to be birds holding up.
Oh, that's a hen. That's a hen.
Come on, Max. Bring him back. That was exciting.
That was right. That held tight.
The pointer was right on top of that bird. It held tight, like in the good old days of pheasant hunting, when we'd probably have a limit by now.
Well, we pushed to the corner.
Dan's still going. He's still got another 20 feet.
I tell you, they got to be somewhere. Maybe they're all roosting together.
I couldn't figure out where the birds were. Mike Francis was befuddled, and we began to wonder if our hopes hadn't bounced back more than the pheasant population. Maybe we were hunting the proverbial field of dreams.
Dog's down, a bird right here.
Oh!
Nice shot.
Whoa, dead bird. Dead bird. Bring it here, Max. Come here, boy. Let the dogs bring it to us.
Finally, the plan came together. Well, part of the plan. This one rooster turned out to be the only one of the day.
Wow, I'll be darned.
Finally.
Yeah, ringneck.
Finally, after all this walking.
The keepers, they are holding tight. Every single one we've kicked out has been real close.
Dan and I think shot about the same time, but I think after we do the analysis, I think you got the bird, so we're going to let you carry it. How's that?
The rest of our opening day was fruitless, so Monday morning I borrowed Bob Garner's setter and hunted the field behind his house.
Garner, my opening day did not meet expectations.
I don't think it did for a lot of people. There were a couple of strikes against opening day any way you look at it. There's corn up. We've had this wet weather. Farmers haven't been able to get much corn down. There's soybeans everywhere. There are all sorts of places for these birds to hide, and that provides some great habitat for hiding anyway. And so I don't think it met a lot of people's expectations, but there were plenty of birds.
Well, that's what we had heard. We had 2 dogs, German Shorthairs, that were supposed to be really good.
Oh, they are. It's a good line of dogs you hunted with.
But and I had a lot of expectations for them, and so did Mike and Mark. But the only birds that those dogs bumped were right in front of their noses.
Well, you know, that is not unusual for what I saw on opening day, especially as you got in a little later in the morning, at least in central Michigan. From everything I've heard, those winds blew fairly warm. Okay, there was not a lot of moisture in the air. So scenting conditions, I saw a hound out here that is very good on birds. Track a bird into a big grassy knoll, jump into it, and there's no bird. Where did the bird go? You know, I don't know. So scenting conditions obviously were not optimum in a lot of places. But I saw a lot of birds. I wasn't hunting.
Yeah, you weren't hunting.
I wasn't hunting, but I was sitting right here in watching out back, and I saw plenty of birds.
So how does it feel to have pneumonia on opening day?
You'd have to bleep it out, buddy. It's not fun. It's not fun, especially when you see these birds drop in and see there were 7 guys from. I kind of got a feeling it was like the old pheasant days. People are so hepped up and so glad the numbers of pheasants are up that they think they can just blunder out in the field and put them up. We had 7 guys, for example, and a couple of dogs out here, and they wound up shooting 1 bird. But I think they put up probably about 10 roosters. You still have to be somewhat of a craftier hunter. There's not so many of them. You can just skip out in the field and all of a sudden shoot a limit.
There we go. Oh, behind him. Behind him.
Now, what are we going to say? See, we didn't want you to come and hunt with us this morning.
Well,
We just borrowed your dog for an hour, and we were out there. And the next thing we know, there's Bob Garner in his hunting jacket and gun in hand.
That's because Bob Garner's fat little fanny was parked in looking out my back window, and I saw that rooster out there, and it was a nice rooster, and I called you guys back. I can handle. Usually I don't lend my dog out. You've been all through this with dogs. You don't lend your dog out. Your dog never handles for anybody else as well as they do for you. And I had my moccasins on and my vest and grabbed a gun, and I knew where that bird was, and I thought I could get my dog to it better than you might be able to direct it. And that's the reason I was out there. But honest, Doc, I came straight back in. In fact, found out my gun wasn't even loaded. I was so excited. Well, and we got a bird.
In fact,
you got a bird.
Half hour from now, you're going to your doctor's appointment.
I have a doctor's appointment, so bring my dog back after you go to this next little spot.
Ho! How about that?
Isn't that typical? Can't find birds away from home on opening day, so an hour around home on the 3rd day of the season, roosters are all over. Mo and I flushed 9 in 3 hours.
Fred,
Whoa, look at that.
Sorry about the tail feathers, but Mo got those. Let me put my gun down here.
Yeah.
Good. Look, it's got a broken band. Mm-hmm. I'll bet you've got let's check for a leg band. Okay, there's no leg band. I'll bet you've got
Crossbreed.
a Sichuan
Yep.
ringneck cross that occurred naturally out here.
Maybe the Sichuan pheasant program will work. Nobody knows for sure at this point, but we do know that ringnecks are more difficult to hunt than ever. The Sichuans will be too, flushing further out ahead and providing hunters with even more excuses for missing.
There it is.
Clean miss.
Well, I tell you, hunting always takes luck. If you're lucky enough to get a big buck that has 10 antler points or more, you'll qualify for one of our Williams Hunting Awards. There were some mighty lucky hunters every year who draw elk permits in this state. Let's take a look at some of the lucky hunters who drew permits for October.
These 3 elk were taken by Michigan hunters in the Wyoming Tetons. Don Johns from Brooklyn got a 5x5. So did his buddy Rich Terrell from Warren, and Chuck Johns from Centerline bagged a 6x6. Now for Michigan elk, we'll start with 6x6s. Here's Tim Martinson from Gladwin. Russ Vroman on the right took a 690-pound 6x6. Russ is from North Branch. This big 6x6 was bagged by Joe Christensen from Grand Blanc. Kathy Delp from Dorr got an even bigger bull, 6x7 during the October hunt. And for our hunting tale, let's let Paul Nickel from Auburn tell the story behind his 6x6.
from the moment I got the letter from the DNR, I was just floating, because I thought when I originally got it was jury duty or something, a registered letter in the mail, and but then I saw that I got an elk permit and then a bull permit besides that, so it was great, and went up there, and the first day I had an excellent guide, Don Huff, and we went out in the woods, and I got this one at about 100 yards in the woods, and I shot once and it took off, and my heart was beating so hard, I shot 4 more times at it, and it ran about 300 yards and went down. When we got up to it, there was just one hole in it, and my guide, he was, real complimentary. He said, "That's some good shooting, Paul." He said, 4 shots in 1 hole, and it's a good thing I hit the first one, So, but I want
to remember that one.
I want to make sure I thank my dad, because if it wouldn't have been for him, he was a big help on this hunt, because anybody that wants to go hunting, there's a lot more to it than just going out there. So there's a lot of preparation involved.
You betcha. Hey, super story.
But Steve Gorsuch made it sound easy on opening day. That's why Steve's our Michigan Outdoors Big Buck Bow Hunter of the Week.
This is one of the spots we had our blind right there in the corner of this little 5-acre bean field. Right up in here is where the deer seem to cross. You can see they've been pawing in the snow. We had a little bit of corn we threw out here and some potatoes, and they've been working on that, especially at night. Here's something I bought 2 days ago, highly advertised, Grandpa's deer sucker. I stuck it in the ground. We had deer milling all around it, and I'm sorry to say, Grandpa, the deer haven't touched it yet after 2 days. Tastes pretty good, though.
Well, you've seen it advertised. Grandpa's Deer Sucker, a concoction of molasses and sweets that I'm sure attracts deer. But we watched the deer in this field walk around the sucker during the day. And they didn't touch it at night either during the first 2 days of deer season last year. Now, that doesn't mean it doesn't work. I'm sure it does. But no product, no matter what it is, works all the time. And the great thing about Grandpa's Deer Sucker is if the deer don't eat it, you can eat it yourself. Which leads us into Kathy Beitler's recipe.
Bob Newman sent us a recipe for Michigan Pheasant Divan, and it is an elegant recipe for pheasant.
Well, it looks like it has a sauce, as I recall, that's good.
Oh, very.
Pheasant is a bird that, this I think was a game farm.
It was, exactly.
Pheasant. We don't always have wild pheasants here on the show, but there's not much fat on them. They're not like a chicken.
A little bit more on this one than I think you would find out in the field, because it was farm raised.
Big meaty legs because they run a lot,
right,
like chickens do. Of course, a pheasant has much more of a distinct flavor.
All of its own.
Although it's not an overpowering
It's not wild
flavor,
at all, no.
You're really not talking about a great deal of difference, but it's tasty. It tends to dry out a little bit.
A lot faster than chicken would.
Even when it's boiled.
And that's what we're going to do to this, is going to boil it first until it's tender, and then going to shred it.
You know why you do that? To pick out the ligaments and the shot.
The little tiny bones, right.
And the shot, though, too.
Now, this recipe actually makes the pheasant go a little bit further, because you're going to add it to a bed of broccoli. And then a sauce is going to go on it of mushroom soup, mayonnaise, lemon juice, a little bit of cooking sherry, and Parmesan cheese.
It's interesting. You don't often use Parmesan cheese in
a recipe,
in this manner.
No, it would be on top, basically. But this is going to give just a little bit of extra thickening in the soup. And then just pour this over your dish, and it goes into the oven.
Yeah, couldn't be much simpler than that.
That's right.
Got to be a winner of a recipe. We test this on different people. Bill Elliott is a disc jockey at WMMQ in Lansing. He had me on as a guest disc jockey one night. So I thought, what the heck, let's have Bill on, to taste one of our recipes. He's a sportsman. I'll tell you what, he likes my job, but I wish I had his voice.
What does it taste like?
It has a little sweet flavor to it.
It come from the wine.
It tastes really well. I really like it.
How does it compare, say, with chicken? Could you tell the difference? Gotta go in for more.
I'll take another bite to see.
It has a little bit of that chicken flavor, but no, it's got its own distinct thing. It's something like you've never really tasted. But it's really good, though. It's really good. A lot of people are scared to try different foods and stuff, but come on, people, try this stuff.
Try this stuff.
It is good.
Look at that plate. Look at how he avoided the broccoli.
Dig around for the pheasant.
Yeah, you afraid to try that broccoli?
I'll have some broccoli, Fred.
How do you like it?
It's good.
You can pick out the broccoli if you want, or make a substitution. This Pheasant Divan recipe, along with a picture in living color, is in the September-October issue of the Outdoor Digest magazine.
If the weather holds, hey, it's the last part of October. Get outdoors if you can this weekend. It's a great place to be. See you next week.
Ho! How about that? How about that?
Fred, whoa, look at that.
Sorry about the tail feathers, but Mo got those. Let me put my gun down here.
Yeah.
Good. Look, it's got a broken band. I'll bet you've got let's check for a leg band. Okay, there's no leg band. I'll bet you've got
Crossbreed.
a Sichuan
Yep.
ringneck cross that occurred naturally out here.